Rivermen fans, I'm Jason Ruff, joined by Rivermen head coach Coffee Trudel. It's time for another edition of Coffee with Coach. Back for another edition of Coffee with Coach, presented by the fine folks at CXT Roasting, and of course the CXT Roasting Rivermen blend. So good.
So good.
It's so good. The boys love it. You got a big package of it, just constantly going through it, eh?
I got to go back there. Tristan came the other day and made us coffee
Yeah.
one morning. It was phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was the best cup of coffee I've ever had. I'm not a coffee drinker. As you folks who watch this well know, I am not a coffee drinker. I drink tea. I was drinking that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could just chug this thing down.
It was our best practice, too. I think everybody, there was shots of espressos, and I mean, it was awesome. So, Tristan, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Speaking on not just best practices, but you told me earlier on that this past weekend was a really good weekend for the Peoria Rivermen. 3 straight wins against the Birmingham Bulls, a team that has a lot of skill, a lot of talent. Why was this past weekend so important for the growth of this team this season?
We learned how to play the Rivermen way, which is the playoff way. Birmingham came in with most of their team, very good hockey team. And we did enough to not allow them to look as good as they really are. And I thought everybody bought into completely unselfish, just pure Rivermen hockey and doing what we have to do away from the puck, all 5 guys, to have success, not give lines, and then offensively do what we have to do to give guys time and space to build our 25-second shift. So it was a really, really good week, and I thought we started first period slow. And from that point, I thought we had 8 really good players in a row.
Yeah, and doing the little things, right?
And that's what playoff hockey is. It's the little things, it's the details, it's a structure, it's players. I always say connection is key in what we talk about. And only a few times in a game did we not have our third or fourth guy connected to what we want to do offensively or defensively. And the boys played extremely well, very happy. But again, it's just a weekend for us. But it's a step in the right direction. And a lot of people always wonder why you do transactions, because in Peoria, we don't build for today. We build for the future of knowing that we're going to have a team that's ready for the playoff hockey, because playoff hockey is not regular season hockey.
No, it's not.
So you have to play a certain way, and you have to have certain athletes that are ready to do all the little things. And a lot of little things is sprinting. A lot of it is sprinting to your spot offensively or defensively, and we had, every athlete on that bench this weekend were ready to do their job, so it was a lot of fun.
I want to talk about a few of those athletes, starting first and foremost with Jordan Ernst. Had 2 big goals in the third period on the Saturday game, netting his 100th career goal in his SPHL campaigns. I know what you're going to say, call you when he gets to 500, but I do want to ask, you've talked a lot about how Jordan Ernst has really embraced the role of being a pro, being that leader. What kind of similarities are you starting to see, if any, to Alec Hageman, especially towards the end of his career?
A lot of it. At this level, it's hard to keep players for a few years.
Right.
So it's hard to build up an athlete. That's why I always say the reason I dream one day of coaching in the NHL is because they have the same teams for years after years after years. So you can have a lot of fun developing those young athletes and making them what specifically you want for that structure of your team. But for us, Jordan's been here for a while, and he came from a young kid with, I think, missing a little bit of confidence and understanding what's needed daily to make sure that he becomes the player that he should be. I look at his skill, at his skating ability, at his shooting ability, his eyes. He's got a great computer. He's got everything needed, but sometimes it takes a while for young players to kind of get it all together and find the click. And I think the last year was very good. I think this year he took another big step, and I think that's a lot of our guys. If you look at the Alec Baer, the Jimmer came back this year, even if it's been a few weekends, the maturity level that he has right now compared to when we got him a few years back, it's completely different. Those guys are growing, they're maturing, but they also understand a little bit like Hags. First 2-3 years you're here, there's a lot of structure that we do, a lot of rotations, and we want things done a certain way. But once you get all of it, it doesn't change. We're going to change little things here and there, but it doesn't change that much. Hockey's still hockey, and those guys understand absolutely everything in every area of the ice, and they're still going to make mistakes, but it makes it so easy for them to grasp whatever game comes at them, whatever pre-scout the other team does, we know exactly that those athletes are going to know how to beat that every single time. And like I said, we don't always execute, but they still know. So the brain is there, the computer is there, and for me, the growth in Jordan Ernst and a lot of our our key leaders is just amazing.
One of the leaders you didn't mention, I'm a little surprised you didn't, Renat Dadajanov. He was just so good defensively. What are some of the little things that Dadajanov does that sometimes go maybe unnoticed when fans are just looking just solely at the game or solely at the stat sheet, but makes him so invaluable on the ice and so impressive as a defenseman?
Well, he's a structure guy. He's a physical guy. And like last weekend, we put him against their top line, and he loves challenges. So for us guys like Dads, guys like Wilkes, when Wilkes is on his game, not trying to do too much because, we ask a lot of Wilkes, but him, and we saw Marty this weekend, they're really, really smart at being in the right spots. So then their routes are only 10 feet instead of being 25 feet. So they're always in the right spots to make sure, offensively or defensively, if we lose the puck, they're still in the right spot. If we win the puck, they're right where they're supposed to be to make it easy on themselves to be, and then also they're aggressive players. So they hold lines on the PK. They're going to block shot. They're warriors. So you don't have to worry about them not trying to block a shot because they're going to try. Sometimes they're going to miss it. Yeah. But everything, they try hard. They're competitors. They're warriors. And for me, athletes like that are so much fun because they're like sponges. Yep. You change something, or like we did last weekend, we gave Dads a challenge of playing the big line, and not one of them got a goal. Right. You know what I mean? And he didn't give much at all, and he's a physical man. He's built like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. So, he's just, we're lucky to have athletes like that. And he came in last year after not playing hockey and completely bought into getting better as a hockey player. And today I think he's becoming the best version of himself because every single day he puts in work. But the reason we don't talk about Renat, he was injured quite a while this year. So I always say when players are injured, that's not my problem anymore. They're not part of the team because, as a coach, you have so much to focus on winning that, whoever's in the lineup, that's who you have to focus on. And then, Allison takes over and makes sure that they get him healthy again. But now that he's back, we're extremely excited.
Put a pin in that injury topic because I want to circle around to it. But I'd also be remiss if I didn't bring out your goaltenders. You had a bit of a curveball thrown at you coming into last weekend. Colby Muse called up to the ECHL and the Adirondack Thunder. Jack Bosted, who thought he was only going to play the Sunday game, gets the Friday and the Saturday game, wins both of them, and then Rico Suave, as you guys like to call him, Rico Gonzalez, comes in his first ever SPHL action and looks like he belonged. What surprised you most about your goaltending this weekend from those two men?
Well, it's always nerve-wracking. You get comfortable with Muser, you know what you get. And then, Jack, we only had seen him one game, so, it's hard. It's a really small sample size. And seeing him this weekend, we know now exactly what Jack is good at, what he struggles a little bit. And I'm lucky, I say every day. I got Eric Levine here every day. So, yes, we bounce ideas off each other, but he's still our goalie guru. He's the one who's going to take care of the last little bit of information they need to know or film and stuff like that. So, it's always a scary sight when your number one goalie gets called up on a Thursday. I always say I don't have a problem with my players going up. I want them to go up. But it's when coaches call them the day before you have a 3-3 against a very good team that's getting all their players back. Yeah. It's a little bit of a scary situation. But both goalies, I think Suaves and Jack are very confident. They don't let anything stress them out. Even after their goals, if you see him, it's another goalie. We're going to do whatever it takes to come back. And Suaves, I thought, moved extremely well, looked very confident. Jack, I think he's got some really good strengths. Maybe one or two things we got to work on, just like Suave. But so happy because, it's not easy because we always get the trickle-down effect. Our goalie got called up. But now I feel bad for the teams that I got to call. Yeah. Like Suave was playing sick for Motor City. You don't want that coach, but that coach actually reached out to me 2 weeks ago. And he's the one who mentioned, you got to call up this kid. He's phenomenal. I guess, they get outshot sometimes 50, 60 to something. And Rico was playing phenomenal. So he's the one who reached out. I reached out. Lucky enough, he came in. And just, after having a conversation on the phone, if they're good people also, then you want them here.
Exactly.
And Iki on the phone, he was just so thankful, so humble, just excited about the opportunity. And for me, those are the kind of athletes that you want to work with.
Exactly.
And no, I'm pumped. It's amazing, and I always say kudos to my leadership group and our team because, when you're on the ice, it's a 6-on-6. The goalie's part of it. Right. And if we don't play well in front of him, we can make him look bad also. But we played so well. We gave the shot. I think Jack, I didn't like the first game. I thought we gave 4 really good scoring chances. But again, that's going to come with the aggressive type of hockey we play. And sometimes we're going to have one guy out of position. But both goalies played extremely well, and we're excited to see him again this weekend. Another great challenge. And, in Knoxville where it's a small rink.
Oh, yeah.
Every shot's dangerous. So it's going to be, we've been working on it today to kind of slimming down our zone a little bit to make sure they feel what it's going to feel like in Knoxville a bit.
I want to circle back to something you just said, bringing guys who are humble. You and I talked a little bit earlier on in this week about wanting to bring guys that have good character, good mentality, and good skill set. How challenging is it, or is it not challenging, to identify players with those three attributes, especially in the middle of the season, and then working with those players to develop those attributes further into, good people make great Rivermen?
Yeah, I don't want to say all my secrets, but I always
I'm not asking for the reveal here.
So when I look at a player bringing in or a player I'm recruiting, I look at two things. One is my Navy SEALs, trust and performance. I honestly base all my athletes on that. And then I look at what type of character and mentality and skills, because I always say character, you can't change it that much. Like when you get a guy that's 25, if you talk to all their coaches in the past, which we do, and they say this guy has low character or high character, that's them. So you can't really work with that.
Right.
It's the mentality that we have to attack, because we can get a guy with high character, but that still has a soft mentality.
Right.
That everything affects him, that he loses confidence easily, or different situation can arise that you have to work on his mentality, because I think if you even look at a Jordan Ernst, I think he had great character when he came in, but I don't think his mentality was tough enough to embrace the challenge of getting better every single day.
Right.
Yeah, so again, you work on that and you work on that, because once the mentality is the right way, the skills are just going to come, because they're going to put so much effort. They're going to be, even if you give negative feedback, they're going to come back stronger. So if you can build that mentality and they already have character, then you get a hockey player. Then you get a good Riverman. So when I recruit any kid, I always tell myself, look at the chart. Yeah. What's his performance? What's his trust? Okay, because they always say a high performer with low trust becomes a cancer. Because if you have a guy that you have to play because he's such a good player, but he does not care about the team and you can't trust him in any situation because he's going to cheat all over the place, you still have to play him 20 minutes, but that 20 minutes, nobody on the team can trust him. That becomes a cancer to the team. Right. So I really look at those two graphs to make sure we recruit the right people coming in.
And because if you have two of those three, then the third one will fall into place.
It always does. It always does. And if you come in a game trying to be the best teammate, best leader, all those attributes, your skill is going to take over. If Alec Bear comes in a game and says, I want to be the hardest worker, the best teammate, and the best leader there is on the bench, when he gets a one-on-one against a goal, he's going to score. He's got the skills in him.
Right.
Yeah, but you have to have the right mentality so those skills can come out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those skills are always going to come out. And of course, you do work on skills for guys that have a little less skill, but if they have the two, they're still going to get in the right spot to have opportunities to be successful for themselves or their teammate that's on the ice. So that's why they talk about culture. Culture is everything. Like the right people is everything, because you can have really, really talented hockey players that bring nothing but headaches to a hockey team.
But I also feel like culture, it is everything, but it also that word culture gets thrown around all over the place. When you think of the Chicago Bears right now, they're getting on a new head coach, and obviously one of the first things that their new coach is going to say, we need to build good culture here. What is every hockey team, every sports team that's going into rebuilding phase, what do they say? We want to bring in a good culture. But what you just said, bringing in guys that have the right mentality, have the right confidence and the right character, that's what culture is distilled down to. That's how you build that culture.
You absolutely got it right there on the nose, because no matter what, a culture will be built. If you bring the wrong athletes, you're going to have a negative culture.
Right.
If you bring the right people, culture will be built in your locker room as the season goes on. What kind of culture do you want a head coach? Bring the right people through the front door.
Yeah.
You bring the right people and you get rid of the people that you don't think will buy in all the time in that culture and all the two graphs I just told you, and you're all set. Because no matter, even if you lose in the playoffs, you're going to lose the right way with the good people that you want to go to war with. And that's the biggest difference, because the word culture is there because every single team has one. But if you look at the good teams that always win, like the Kansas City Chiefs and stuff, they have the right people. Patrick Mahomes could throw the ball 50 times a game if he wanted. And he'd still be really successful. He'd probably beat records of yards per,
Yep.
and all that. But right now, he decided to throw the ball only 26 times because that's what the team needed to win that game, that specific day. So for them, they have the right culture of guys being unselfish and doing whatever it takes for the team to be successful. And their personal success is going to come with it because they have skills. Patrick Mahomes got tons of skill. So his first thing is to be a great leader. You know what I mean? A great player, great leader, great teammate that works the hardest in the game. And his skills are going to take over after that. And that's kind of what we believe here in Peoria.
How do you think this Peoria culture is really helping this team navigate all the roster moves, all the injuries, all the call-ups, and still helping this team win and find success?
Just because of that, we know what we have to do. And my leadership group, I say it every year, and I know I'm annoying with it, but if you don't have the right leaders, you're in trouble. We have the right leaders. I have the right assistant coach. They're all great people, great leaders. They want the best for the hockey team, and it's contagious. You know, just like a negative attitude, it can snowball negatively. Just like a great culture and great leaders, I mean, just snowballs positively. So no matter who we bring in, they know there's a certain way we do things, and it's all about the team, and then the individual success is going to come with it. So it's fun for us. We just keep rolling, and we know there's going to be tough times. They're going to come along. How do we react? That's what makes you real men, and we're going to react the same way and put our best foot forward and keep working at it.
How do you keep a team connected? Because I know you preach you want to see a team be connected, both on the ice and in terms of their mentality, what they're doing. How do you keep a team so connected when you have all the call-ups, when you have all the injuries, when you have new guys coming in seemingly every week? How do you stay connected, and how much of a role does the leadership group play in keeping that connectivity going?
You build your relationships, and you're not afraid to tell each other the truth. And at the same time, when something doesn't happen the way you think should happen, I have no problem. Like, we have such a good relationship, me and my players, that I can call them at night. Hey, I didn't like you did this. This new guy's coming in. Get on your phone, call him right away, make him feel comfortable, build your relationship with that new player as fast as you can, make him feel comfortable the first meeting you do when he's in the locker room, make him feel like he's a part of the team, no matter if he's a 10th forward or if he's your 6th D or if he's your 1st D, they're all the same. We all get treated the right way, we all have a voice, and that's really important what we do here in Peoria, and that's why I think success just keeps going. And at one point, I always say something's going to happen that we might have a few guys that don't have that right culture, and we're going to have to let them go, bring the right people in, and work with them even harder, because there is some players with high skill, low skill. So, but as long as they have the character and the right attitude, you can do a long way.
Do you think that's what has enabled players like Carson Baptiste to just come in and have so much success right out of the gate?
Yeah, I think he was a hungry athlete, couldn't wait to get up. He wanted to play up. I always say your pass is your pass, so we always look at your pass. We talk to people that wasn't your pass. Everybody said how much of a good kid he is, quiet kid, worked extremely hard. He put up 70 points in the MJ, which is a good junior league. So we kind of, do our research, and like as soon as I know Gags played with him, and he's like, you're gonna love him. He's a Rivermen. He's gonna love to work, and he's a great kid, and he can score, and he's intelligent. So I'm like, fantastic. And then when he came in, guys made him feel comfortable right away. And like I said, we know Ernie scores a lot of goals and stuff like that, but for us, Dad's not going to block a big shot in that game. We're going to celebrate that as much as a big goal. Like
exactly.
We celebrate all those little things, and guys feel really comfortable right away.
What do you think is the ceiling, or the next step, I should say, for a player like a Carson Baptiste, or even a Garrett Devine, who picked up his first professional goal on Sunday?
Keep believing at doing the right things for them to be successful. Because if you do that, if you're always a great teammate, I always say, if you don't sprint to support, if you don't sprint for a pick, if you don't sprint for this, you're not a good teammate. If you sprint and you're unselfish enough to do whatever it takes for that teammate also to have success, your individual success is going to come, and if you go to the right areas. Like, there's different players that need different things. We just had a conversation with Trads. Offensively, Trads is, he's not a scorer, but he brings so much more. But I still want to help him, because I understand how offense, like if you're in a forward, goals give you a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like, that offensive game gives you a little confidence. And I know he's at the point of his life that he's never going to cheat the game, and he's never going to cheat his teammate. So now we're trying to help him to add a little confidence to his game. So there's never any ceilings. There's only a ceiling on your mentality.
Okay.
So if you don't think you can do it, you'll never do it. Yeah, I mean, but if you really think you can do it, and now you start going to the right areas all the time, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to happen at some point. And I always say, once you do, and it does happen, all of a sudden your shots from the outside go in a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, your little things, because you're growing and you're growing. But as soon as you stop going in the right spot, then your shots from the outside are going to stop going in. You know what I mean? So again, it's just a matter of believing in what we do, and don't put a ceiling on your mentality. Like, it's amazing. I always say it's amazing what the body can do when the brain thinks the right things. You know what I mean? So that's what we try to teach our athletes, and go with that.
I mean, there's a reason they say the brain is the most powerful muscle, right?
I'm a big believer in that. I live my life through that. I've had so many talented athletes I played with, major, junior, that were way more talented than me. I just had a different brain. Like I just wanted it a little bit more, and I believed I could do it every single day, even if a lot of people told me I couldn't. And I got a chance to play a few NHL games because of it. Like when I grew up, nobody would ever think I would have had a chance. You know what I mean? But I kept believing, and I did a great. I was lucky enough to have a great career in hockey because of the belief, not because of my talents. Trust me, I was not the pretty skater. I had to work my butt off to try to get to point A to point B, but we got it done. And like I said, all those guys there's no ceiling on how good you can be for this team.
Do you ever get a moment in your office where you just sit back and you see all the players that are out in that locker room right now, all the new guys that have come in that are starting to find success, starting to buy into being a Riverman? Do you ever catch yourself sitting back like, holy cow, this thing's working?
No, not really. You're so ingrained in the process during the year that you don't really have. I always say if you take a breath, you're done.
Okay.
I tell our athletes that in the playoffs. I'm like, as soon as, because for a few years we could win the semifinals and guys took a breath and then you're in trouble. You know what I mean? So as a season goes on, I mean, I will give you guys a few days off or breaks here and there, but you still have to be in the mindset of attacking. Right. So for me, Eric, in the office, there's always something new to attack. Yeah. Call up, an injury, a system we didn't like, something we didn't like, a structure, we didn't do a right detail. So I never look back and say, man, this is working, because I believe in my players. I would tell them that if you're here for more than a month, it's because you're really good. Yeah. Like I see true character, I see true. If you have a bad mentality, but you try to fake it, I see it as a player if you cheat, because that's all we do is we watch video. Right. So really quick, you won't be here if you don't have the right mentality to be a true Riverman. And if you're here over a month, and I'm hard on guys, if I have that much faith in you as a player, you're a good player.
Well, be here more than a month and not get injured. There's been a lot of injuries this year.
A lot of injuries, and again, that's another great challenge. If there's no injuries, we don't find out about Carson Batiste.
Exactly.
If there's no injury, we don't find out about Jack Botstead. We don't find out about Suave. We don't. I mean, and now we have all these guys that, man, even though if we have Muser come back and we have to release one, we have him for next year because we know that kid can really play. Yeah. I mean, so everything happens for a reason. If you take it the right way, you just attack the new challenge, and it's fun. And are we going to have more losses? Maybe. Who cares? Losses are always good. If if it makes the team kind of realize you're not as good as you need to be if you don't play the right way, and you go back and you attack the next moment, it's a win-win every single day. The only bad loss is when you get eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah. That's the only loss that really hurts. The rest of the loss in the regular season, if you're a playoff team, you learn from him, you get better from him, and then you attack the next moment. And if you have the right character guys, I'll give you a quick example. Today in practice, first drill, guys were a little slow. I brought them in, I said, guys, that's not how we do it here in Peoria. So I'm like, this is the first strike. You know what I mean? If we don't attack the next drill, the pucks might be disappearing really quick. Right. Yeah. My leadership group, I've never seen guys fly so fast after that. It's been the fastest practice I've seen. So that when you have the right people, you know what I mean? They just attacked it. You know what I mean? Yep. That was an adversity moment in the practice. Boom, they attacked it. They went at it, and then they were flying like I've never seen it. Now, we left practice. Everybody's got confidence. So, again, adversity equals either quitting or attacking it. We attacked it. Now we feel good. So it's the same thing with injuries. We attack it. We're excited. Like me and Levy, when we bring a guy up, we're always excited to see what he's going to be like, if we can work with him or not. So it's a good process.
It is a good process, and the Rivermen going to be confident going up against a potential playoff foe in the Knoxville Ice Bears. I personally think the Peoria-Knoxville series is going to be one of the more interesting series between the Rivermen and a non-traditional opponent this year. Guy, you've had a chance to see Knoxville already. Looking at them this year, they've surged up into a top 4 position in the league. What's different about Knoxville this year as opposed to last year?
They're structured. They're very organized. They're structured, and they went from a slow, not very structured, to a team that's very aggressive. From the PK, their forecheck, everything they do, they're ultra aggressive. I think they're doing a good job coaching over there. I know Pricer over there is the assistant coach, and I know he's a passionate guy about the game of hockey. You can see they're taught well, and I always say if it's easy to pre-scout a team, they're a good coach. And at our level, there's some teams that you're never sure. You know what I mean? But they're very disciplined. I think they're plus 40 something in power plays compared to PK. So they're a tough team. We only saw them once, and I think for both teams it was a 3-3.
Yeah.
So it is what it is at the end of the day. But we know we're going to get the best of them. They only played Friday, Saturday, so they're waiting for us for the last, and I'm sure they had some good practice. So we're excited. We love those challenges. We're going on the road, and we always say when we get in their rink, we want to make it feel like our rink, and we're going to go attack the process without losing Barks is hard and Gags, two good defensemen. And again, we just brought up another guy, and hopefully Gary can play really well. And Ayo's going to take more steps because, like I said, he hadn't played in a month and a half, so he's going to keep getting better. So again, it's going to get chances for guys to play a lot of ice time and play in different situations, and we'll see what happens.
It'll be an exciting trip. Friday and Saturday, February 1st and January 31st. Friday night and Saturday night, both games at 6:05 p.m. Central, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Last question for you, Guy, before I let you go. What's your favorite thing about the Knoxville trip?
You know what it is. I knew you were going there with it. I knew you were going to mention it at some point. You know exactly what it is.
Hey,
so for us, it's when we get to Knoxville, we go through the night. We get there at around 8:30. We unpack and stuff, and then we always go to the same crepe place, and they make the best crepes. And their logo is a little Quebec logo, so a French logo. So it's always good for me to go there, and we always have two kinds of crepe. One, the breakfast crepe with eggs and stuff, and then the other crepe, a little dessert to get ready for the morning skate. So that's my favorite part. But also you laugh, Ruffer, but to me, always having like you, Trev, Alice, the staff, Eric, all together at the front, and then we always have a few vets at the front talking on the bus. To me, when I retire, like those are moments you'll remember because Trevor's going to tell jokes for an hour.
Oh yeah,
we're going to laugh, and so those are the fun times that you always remember. And then of course a good breakfast in Knoxville, we're excited about.
What I like, and I'm throw you a curveball. What I really like about the Knoxville trip, it's long enough for a sleeper bus where we have those moments, like you said, all the staff and a few veterans up front talking, sharing stories, whether it be Trevor telling jokes or you and I talking about the latest historical thing regarding Tennessee or the city of Knoxville or what have you. But it's also a short enough trip where you don't feel exhausted on either side of that trip. You don't get to Knoxville feeling exhausted, like, oh, I can't wait to get off the bus. Or you don't come back after the end of the weekend feeling like, oh my goodness, that was an ordeal.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like a little 9-hour trip.
Yeah.
We get there, we sleep through the night, get there, have a good morning skate. And you're not there too long that it's a long trip. You're back here Sunday morning, and it's an old building, but it's cool because they always get good fans, and the fans like to yap. So it's fun. As much as they hate us, we love them because I love having like fans that don't like us, and it's cool and it's fun. So we're always excited. Knoxville's it's a beautiful city with the University of Tennessee there. It's a great city. I love the mountains. Like it's gorgeous. So it's always good because last year, like I said, I didn't get a chance to make that trip, and it's been 2 years now. So I miss my crave. So I'm excited.
You do. Well, the number one Peoria Rivermen going into town to take on the Knoxville Ice Bears this Friday and Saturday, January 31st and February 1st. Again, face off for that one at 6:05 p.m. Central. You can catch all the action on Mixlr and Flow Hockey. Guy?
Cheers, buddy.
See you on the bus.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Jean Trudel, I'm Jason Ruff. This has been Coffee with Coach, presented by CXT Roasting.